On a cold autumn evening in Rome, Chiara, a keen researcher of Renaissance history, was sitting in her library filled with ancient books and rare manuscripts. A small, worn book on the shelf caught her eye, titled The Mysteries of the Palazzo Farnese. She had heard a lot about the palace, which was built in the 16th century, but it was not like other Renaissance palaces. It was always associated with terrifying legends and stories of political conspiracies hatched in secret. Chiara, who had always been fascinated by that era, decided to take her adventure to another level. She knew that entering the palace after dark was forbidden, but curiosity pushed her to bypass the warnings. She visited the palace in the morning to take note of its layout, ignoring the fear whispering inside her, then returned at night, sneaking through the ancient doors. As soon as she entered the palace under the cover of darkness, the scent of time and the fragrance of mystery surrounded her. She wandered between the rooms, decorated with ancient frescoes and statues staring at her with petrified eyes. With every step she took on the cold marble, the faint whispers grew louder. Whispers that could barely be heard, as if they came from the palace walls themselves. In one of the large rooms, the room that had once been a meeting place for secrets and political intrigues, Chiara noticed something strange. On the large table in the middle of the room, a stone book that had been absent from her morning tour appeared. The book was open to a page bearing strange drawings and inscriptions in an ancient language. She tried to read it, and she felt something cold touch her skin. She hesitated for a moment, but she couldn't resist the curiosity that was sweeping her. She began to whisper the words she had read in a trembling voice. Suddenly, the ground shook beneath her feet. The doors and windows slammed shut, as if the palace had awakened from its slumber. Chiara tried to escape, but shadows began to gather around her, slowly approaching her. Those shadows were not just natural shadows. They were the embodiment of spirits from the past, spirits of conspiracies and betrayals that had been buried with the palace. As she walked back to the great room, she discovered an old mirror. Its reflection was completely different. She wasn't seeing herself, but the ghost of a woman from the past, a lady who seemed to be trapped inside the palace, dressed in Renaissance clothing. The whispers began to speak clearly this time. I have unleashed what was buried. You will not be able to escape. Chiara tried to run, but her feet were heavy, as if she were part of the palace now. She remembered the strange words she had read in the stone book and tried to recall them in her mind, perhaps to find a way out. But every time she tried to remember the words, the sound of those whispers drowned her thoughts. When she finally reached the main gate, she discovered that the palace had changed its features. It was no longer the same palace she had entered. Its walls were pulsating with life, and every door she opened led to a new corridor or another room that had never existed before. She felt that time itself had lost its meaning inside this place. Chiara finally understood the price that had to be paid to enter this world. The palace was not just a stone building, it was a trap for the soul and the mind.